Welcome into the Analyst in the Armchair, an NFL podcast where one host is obsessed with stats and spreadsheets, and the other just really loves yelling at the TV on game day and has plenty of opinions. Together, Michelle and Nycole dive into player news, weekly matchups, and all the storylines you'll be talking about with your friends. Whether you're a hardcore or casual football fan, they've got something for you.
Welcome into episode 8 of the Analyst and the Armchair. I'm Michelle Majuk. I am the analyst part of the show. This is Nycole Bernstein. She is the Armchair. Although I feel like the longer we get into this, the more and more you want to become the analyst. And you're like, you know what? I want to get into more stats and you can give more of your opinions.
Yeah, I just can't help it. I like to have evidence to back up my hypotheses.
We're very much the same in that, where we want to win our debate.
Right.
And it's harder to win when like I come with stats and then yours is just like opinions. So I get that.
Sure. I mean, I have plenty of opinions, but I also like to be like, and this is why, you know.
I will say the Armchair beat the Analyst in fantasy football this past week. Not for anything she did.
Okay.
I'm not giving you credit. It's all my worst decisions of all time. And that's where I'm going to go with that.
Okay.
I'd like to say right at the last second of kickoff, I took out Darren Waller in my flex because I was like, Michelle, you're being stupid playing Darren Waller in your flex. And instead I went with Darius Slayton. And that was the difference of the game.
Do you want to know who I would have went with?
Who?
Darren Waller.
Yeah. Darren Waller would have got me the win. I lost by 6 points.
It was the best. And
I really needed to win that game.
And listen, if you recall, a few weeks ago, we traded Genty and Etienne. And technically, Genty had a better week, but it didn't matter because my team is better. So,
okay, but it's not if I just played the right people.
Well, that's not how fantasy works, does it? So,
anyways,
what's your record?
I'm 2-3 now.
Ooh.
Okay, I was 0-3 and then I went to the finals last year, so I'm not worried about it.
Okay, well,
I always start slow.
And then what happened in the championship game?
No, you beat me. You beat me. It's fine.
That's right.
Relax.
That's
Today,
right.
today we're going to talk a little bit of news. We have a new quarterback in a new city. I don't know if it really changes anything whatsoever, but you know, they're trying. The Bengals are trying to stay afloat. And then we'll get to all of the week 6 games. So let's start with our opening drive, which is Joe Flacco going to the Cincinnati Bengals. Will he save this city this year? Probably not.
The opening drive.
All right, so we have Joe Flacco headed to Cincinnati, just a few hours away from where he was, the Cleveland Browns. It was a small little trade that the two teams made, although the Browns are going to get like a solid, they get the 5th round pick from the Bengals, and the Bengals get back a 6th round pick, but it could be almost like a 7th round pick because they're getting the Lions 6th round pick. So all that to say, it's a late round swap, whatever with the cost. But if you're a Bengals fan, you're going from Jake Browning to the guy that actually has a worse passer rating than Joe Flacco this year. And there's only 2 guys that have a worse passer rating than Joe Flacco this year. It's Cam Ward than Jake Browning this year. It's Cam Ward and Joe Flacco.
Right.
What are your thoughts on this trade?
I mean, my thoughts are Cleveland didn't need him anymore. He was just going to sit on the bench.
Yeah, Cleveland needed to trade him. That's fine.
And it's good for, Cleveland and Shedeur Sanders getting to be QB2, I guess. But for the Bengals, I mean, it was like a wash of a season, right? Like you have Joe Burrow go down, who everybody was stoked to see this year, and then you bring in Joe Flacco. I don't know if it's the worst thing for them because, again, like you said, it's like for late round picks anyway.
But like the whole thing with Jake Browning getting rid of him is he can't stop throwing interceptions. Joe Flacco this year can't stop throwing interceptions.
Well, listen, we both know who has thrown more interceptions than both of them.
Geno Smith.
And it's Geno Smith, who's a starter forever, probably. So, for me, it's like I'd rather have Joe Flacco than Jake Browning at this point.
You know who I'd much rather have? Jameis Winston. And I don't know why the Bengals didn't get him because he's just sitting on the Giants bench. Even Russell Wilson, just anyone else. He's
No.
better than Joe Flacco.
No,
Okay.
I don't think he
Joe
is.
Flacco has thrown 2 touchdowns over his 4 starts, and then Dylan Gabriel comes in and throws 2 touchdowns in his first start in the NFL for the Browns. Joe Flacco's done. He's so old. It's over with. It's done.
Well, I would say the same thing about Russell Wilson.
That's fine. But Jameis Winston's there for the getting it with the Giants.
Sure.
I just don't understand why they didn't do that. And
Yeah.
it's not like Jameis Winston would have saved their season either.
Right.
But it would have been a little bit more of a hope.
Well-
And Winston would have also thrown a bunch of interceptions, but he would at least been fun while doing it.
I guess the thing for me is I'd rather, and going back to Jake Browning, I'd rather see, and I'm just selfish because I have Jamar Chase, but like I'd rather see Joe Flacco so at least he could try to throw
Yeah.
Jamar Chase the
Oh,
ball.
you would have died though if they got Winston. Winston's like the best thing ever for fantasy wide receivers. He doesn't give it. He does not care at all if you threw 5 interceptions trying to target you. He will try for that 6th. He'll try for that 8th. He will keep targeting you nonstop on the field. Jameis Winston's the most fun guy ever to have when you have that fantasy wide receiver.
Well, now I won't know. So
Yeah, you won't.
Not really that exciting for me right now.
Yeah. Anyways, I don't really know what the Bengals are doing, but what they're doing is they're going to lose a lot more games.
Well, do they? I didn't look this up. Do the Bengals play the Packers this year? Because they might have a chance to beat them with Joe Flacco.
Are you joking?
Yeah.
You-
No, I'm not because he's the only quarterback to have beaten the Packers.
Would they play him this week?
Yes, I was just setting up that game, actually. Yeah. Bengals all day.
Yeah,
all day for that game.
Yeah. I love how you prep for that game and you're like,
That's what's sad.
yeah.
And that's why Armchair shouldn't prep for anything.
Mhm,
We're just
mhm.
here for a good time.
Before we get in the game previews, we have one more. Hilarious. I thought you were actually just being really witty there, but
You know-
you should have went with it.
I know.
Yeah. Anyways,
It's been a long day, Michelle. It's been a long day.
Nicole did start a new job this week. She's not used to waking up so early.
Or working all day.
Her brain's not quite working at the moment. But another piece of news before we get into the game previews: Marion Hampton of the Chargers on IR. So, if you're into fantasy, that really stinks, especially because he's about to get the best matchup against the Dolphins. So now Cavani Vidal or Hampton are going, not Hampton, Haskins is going to be the next men up, but I don't think either one are going to be very good.
Yeah, no.
And they're probably going to split the backfield. So we'll talk about that once we get to that game. But the Chargers are in a lot of trouble with injuries. Hampton on IR, Najee Harris out for the season. Both of their tackles are out, with Rashawn Slater out for the season, and Joe Alt needs to desperately get back for Justin Herbert because they lost back-to-back games, and then they lost Becton, their guard, for a little bit here, and then Khalil Mack is on IR and Denzel Perryman on IR. So started off hot, but they are dealing with a lot of injuries. We are going to get into the Week 6 game previews. I get guys, if you watch this show for being correct, I'm sorry. I hope we're just entertaining, because the last 2 weeks we have been pitiful with our game picks.
Yeah.
I mean, I started on fire. The first 2 weeks I was on fire. Third week is okay. The last 2 weeks, I'm embarrassed.
It's not good.
It's not great.
Yeah.
I am really, really sorry. But I hope we just we're talking about the games, we're giving you our opinions, but don't, we're going to try to be better with our game picks.
Sure.
But that's all I can say. I can't even act like we've been great with these.
Well, and some of them were just shouldn't have happened. And I guess that's the thing.
The
too.
Cardinals losing to the Titans.
It's just silly, and the Saints winning a game. Silly.
Against the Giants, and then the Eagles folding after being up 17-3.
And the
against
Bills.
Broncos.
Yeah, there's a lot of ridiculous games. I don't know
Yeah.
that we're insanely bad. I just think reason would say we made the right choice.
It was
That's just
through
not how-
almost all the games we're looking good, and then all of a
Mhm.
sudden the craziest things would happen, and it was
Right.
just they fell apart. But anyways,
Yeah.
we'll get into our game 6 previews right now.
Between the 20s.
All right, let's start with the best game of the week, and it's Sunday Night Football. We have the Lions against the Chiefs, and maybe we're being too nice to the Chiefs to say this is the best game of the week, because they are now 2-3.
Yeah, they have the same record as the Texans, which is a fun fact that I love.
That is a fun fact because I feel like everyone's like, Texans stink. And still, in so many power rankings, the Chiefs are up super high. Like, people are not giving up on this team. And one of their wins came against the Giants. Their one great win against the Ravens. They lost against the Chargers, Eagles, and Jaguars. Now, all those three teams are pretty good this year. But the Lions are 4-1, won 4 straight games. We have different winners in this game.
We sure do.
You have the Lions. I have the Chiefs.
Uh-huh.
Tell me why you're taking the Lions.
Man, I said it a couple weeks ago. I think Detroit is getting into their stride. I think they look really good. Kansas City, like you said, people are giving them a lot more credit than I think they should have. They went in and lost to the Jaguars last week, and I know how you feel about the Jaguars. But Detroit's run is going to be really good this week. Kansas City's rush defense is mediocre at best, so I could see Detroit running the ball all game long. Kansas City has a problem because Mahomes, I think it was like 3 out of 5 games has been their best rusher. Like, do you want
no run game,
do you want a quarterback or do you want somebody to run with the ball? Because right now, I think that's why they're so like flip-floppy and bad is like he can't throw the ball because you need him to run the ball, right? And I don't think that's going to work against Detroit. So he's going to have to throw the ball, and I just think this is honestly the spread's like 2.5 points. I think it's going to be higher,
and it's 2.5 points for the Chiefs. Like, the Chiefs are the favorites in this game, and
it is in Kansas City. I'll say that, but I don't think it matters for this one.
I do think it matters. I think if it was in Detroit, I'd go with Detroit. Kansas City, I think with their backs against the wall at 2-3, no matter who they're facing, they're going to win the game. And not only that, like, Mahomes rarely loses back-to-back games. He did do it in weeks 1 and 2, but it is so rare. He's only done it 5 times in his career. And if they won last week, I would say, okay, maybe the Lions would pull it out. But I do not see the Chiefs going 2-4. I do not see Andy Reid and Patrick Mahomes failing in this game. And Mahomes has been a much better passer since getting back Xavier Worthy. So first 3 weeks of the season, he only threw 3 passing touchdowns. The last 2 weeks, he has 5 passing touchdowns. He has over a 69 completion percentage when that was at 59% from weeks 1 through 3. So like, he's getting his passing game going, and the Lions will be down both their 2 starting cornerbacks in this game, with both DJ Reed and Terrion Arnold out. So I think that will matter. So I'm leaning the Chiefs. That's who I'm going to pick. You're going the Lions. It's a toss-up. I think it'll be a good game either way. Now, moving on to a game I think I'm most excited about this week. It's the Chicago Bears against the Washington Commanders. It's on Monday night in one of the 2 Monday night games, with the Bills and Falcons, the other one. And again, we're different in this game. Again, though, I think it's very, very close. So you're taking the Commanders. They're 4.5 point favorites. I'm taking the Bears coming off the bye because I thought they looked really good entering their bye week, and hopefully they can get even better with Ben Johnson. But the Commanders look good too. So tell me why you're picking the Commanders over the Bears.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know why you would pick the Bears, to be honest.
Okay.
That seems like a bad choice on your part.
Okay.
Chicago won by 1 point, I believe it was, against the Raiders.
Yeah. They were beating them pretty good until the end.
Turnovers. Like, if you don't win that game, that's even like more embarrassing than just winning by 1. So I'd even take the spread on this game.
Okay.
I think if you have Bill Krosky-Merritt, play him in fantasy this week. Obviously, I think he's going to crush it like he did last week. And while the Commanders defense could work on some things, the offense is just, I'm loving it right now. They're sharing the ball. Daniels is running the ball like I said he needed to last week. I said, if he can just start using his legs, I think they'll have a real good shot this week. And he did, and they did. And so I think they're just going to keep that momentum going. They beat the Rams, who I thought were looking really good. And so, yeah, I'm loving the Commanders for this game.
Yeah. You went with the wrong LA team there. It was the Chargers, but they're both looking really good.
Yes.
Yeah. You're doing so good today. You're killing it. Amazing.
I'm just gonna drink a little more of this.
Yeah, and drink some more whiskey, girl. No, so I like both of these teams, and I think like while I'm watching it, I'll be rooting for the Commanders. Like you're a big fan of them, I'll probably be watching this game with you. I'll be rooting for them, but at the same time, the Bears, the 2 games before their bye, they won both of those games. They averaged 28 points per game, only allowed 19 points per game, and had a +7 turnover differential. That was so different than the first 2 games. It can take a second with a new head coach, new play caller, new everything. So I think they're starting to click. I think this bye too comes at a time where they can evaluate their first 4 weeks, figure out what's working, what's not working. I do think they figure out a way to get DJ Moore involved. I'm not just saying that because I traded for him in fantasy because I actually dropped him. I dropped him. So I hope he's not more involved so I don't drive myself crazy.
Michelle, who did you trade him for?
Shush. And then we're not going to talk about that. And then also,
I hope somebody asks in the comments because I will run to the comments and tell them.
Don't ask about it, please. And and then there's sometimes narratives just work out in the NFL. And last year when these 2 teams faced each other, the Bears fully should have won, right? But the Commanders get that Hail Mary because the Bears, Tyreek Stevenson is celebrating early and, misses this guy. And it derails their entire season. And the quarterback or the coach gets fired and all that. So I do think they're going to come into this game with some revenge feelings.
I think that just says more about Jaden Daniels and the spirit of this team than it does the Bears being dumb.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
And moving on to one of my favorite teams, actually 2 of my favorite teams now, because my dad's listening. He's going to have a meltdown.
He really will.
He will. The Steelers are my favorite team. All right. Just saying that straightforward. But after that, I love the 49ers. Those are my top 2 for sure. But all of a sudden, like Buccaneers are becoming such a fun team to watch. I've always loved Baker Mayfield. Named my dog after him. But the Buccaneers this year, especially with all their late game winnings, it's so fun to watch. I'm going to pick the Buccaneers over the 49ers this week. I think they have the better roster at the moment. 49ers are still very, very banged up. Brock Purdy will not be playing still. It doesn't seem like George Kittle seems like he's still going to miss a week. We have to wait on Ricky Pearsall and Juwan Jennings, but I just think the Buccaneers right now are thriving under Baker. So I'm going with them, but you're going with the 49ers.
I am. And I didn't go with them last week and I regretted it.
Well, no one went with the 49ers last week.
It's true.
That was a wild game, and it was on my birthday.
And they did play the Rams.
Yeah. For
anyone paying attention to this matchup. I mean, the 49ers came out. They played. That was the Thursday night football game. Mm-hmm. It was so fun because we were out and we were just expecting it to be
a blowout.
Not a great game. And then it was. And then they won, and it was so fun. Mac Jones is looking really good.
I may have been doing push-ups in between commercial breaks.
Stressed.
I was so stressed.
So stressed. I wish I knew how to put that video of you doing your push-ups in this. Again, comment if you want it. But I mean, that game was so good. I was very impressed, at the 49ers stopping the 3rd down conversions. I think that's so huge for a number of reasons. But I think the biggest thing is it's just such a momentum builder. And I feel like they did a really good job of that against the Rams. Also, fun fact, the 49ers, for some stats for you, number 1 in passing yards per game. It's shocking.
With having Mac Jones in 3 of the games.
Well, not only just having Mac Jones, but being so depleted in your wide receiver roster, right? Like, who is he throwing it to? I don't know, but apparently he is, and they're catching it, right? And so, and again, I think the sentiment from last week is true. The Bucs are barely winning games, and I know you're like, "Oh, Baker, you're so great," but like, they're barely winning games, and like that one game, they only won against Atlanta because the kicker missed the kick, so that wasn't even them. So, I just think I'm hoping that Christian McCaffrey runs all over them because Tampa Bay's pass defense is better than their run defense. So I think Christian McCaffrey has a game against them. And I think the spread here is 3 points. I do think it'll be close. Don't get me wrong, because all of the Bucs games are close. But I think the 49ers can do it again.
So this is my thing. So yes, you're right. Both teams, like the Buccaneers, have won all their games very close. They have not won by more than 3 points at all this season, and they are the first team in NFL history with 4 wins in their first 5 games of a season when tied or trailing in the final minute of regulation. But I do think that shows how clutch Baker Mayfield is. That's all I'm gonna say. Like he is just such a winner. But then also, it's not like the 49ers are winning by a lot, right? Like
Sure.
they won all of their games by 5 or fewer points. I mean, the 49ers have a plus 8 point differential this year. The Buccaneers have plus 3. So it's not like either team is blowing out anybody else. So this is probably going to be a close game. But at the end of it, who do I trust more? Baker Mayfield or Mac Jones? I'm going to trust Baker Mayfield. And I know like I can bring up all the injuries, right, for the 49ers, and that's why I'm picking the Buccaneers. And we said the same thing last week when I picked the Rams, but
True.
they're still out these really top-notch guys. You can only win so many games without that. Even if Mac Jones is okay, I still just think Baker is going to outplay him. Baker leads the league in pass touchdown interception ratio at 10-1, while the 49ers have allowed the second worst, I guess, pass touchdown interception ratio on defense at 8-0. They don't have an interception yet this season. If they don't intercept Baker Mayfield, they have no shot of winning.
Well, let it be. I hope that happens.
They also have 1 sack and 2 quarterback hits since Nick Bosa got hurt.
Well, we knew
over the last 2 weeks. They
that.
have 1 sack and 2 quarterback
But
hits.
we know
they have
that.
no pressure whatsoever. And Baker without pressure, forget about it. He's amazing. Yeah, I do think the Buccaneeers. I think the Buccaneers cover.
Okay.
I think they're 3-point favorites. I think they cover. I think they win pretty easily. I hope
Pretty
not.
easily,
As a
huh?
49ers fan, I hope not. Sorry, 49ers
Very
fans
bad
listening to
fans.
this.
Mimosa Michelle's the worst.
And I am drinking mimosa.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Chargers, Dolphins. Chargers 4.5-point favorites. I'm actually shocked that it's not more than that. But like the 49ers, the Chargers are dealing with so many injuries. I already brought them up. It's both starting running backs out. It's both starting tackles. Hopefully, maybe Joe Alt can come back. But, they could both be out. It's a lot to overcome. But they're going to overcome it against the Dolphins.
Yeah.
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 We're both picking the Chargers pretty easily.
I mean, yeah, the Dolphins last week, it was like, wow, do they kind of look like a football team being they were up like 17-0 at one point, and they just could not, like, it was like they were like, we're okay. We scored some points. And then for like 2/3 of the game, it was like, do they remember how to play football? Like they could not convert a 3rd down to save their lives. And it was so stagnant, and they allowed the Panthers to come back and win that game. And it was like, what are you doing? The other thing that's hard for me, though, is the Chargers the last couple weeks. They have looked like the old Chargers again. And it's like you said, sure, there's injuries happening, but like, is Justin Herbert reverting back to the Justin Herbert that we're all kind of used to?
I do think Joe Alt being there or not is massive. And I don't think it's really that massive in this game because the Dolphins defense overall is not very good and the Dolphins stink. I think Mike McDaniel gets fired after this game. Their only win is against a 0-5 team against the Jets. Mm-hmm. So I'm not saying it comes to play in this game, but in terms of the rest of the season, Joe Alt, just as Justin Herbert's stats with Joe Alt on and off the field. With him on the field, he is averaging 7.7 passing yards per attempt. Without him, 5.4. So drops by 2.3 passing yards per attempt. With him on the field, 6 touchdowns to 1 interception. Without him on the field, 2 touchdowns to 3 interceptions. Oof. His passer rating drops by over 30 points without him on the field. It's 103.7 with him on the field to 69.6 without him. He needs him back. He's been pressured at such a high rate without him because they're already without Rashawn Slater, who's one of the best tackles in the league. And without pressure this year, Herbert is averaging 113 passer rating, 78 completion percentage, while with pressure, averaging a 49 passer rating, 43 completion percentage. Like, get Joe Alt back, and I think it'll be fine. But again, it doesn't even matter if Alt's back in this game. They're going to handle it.
Yeah, agreed.
Yeah. All right, moving on. Seahawks, Jaguars. Your favorite quarterback in the league is playing in this game, and Sam Darnold. I've never seen a bigger Sam Darnold apologist in my life, besides maybe my father, with Nycole. loves him to death. The Seahawks lost last week because why? Because Sam Darnold could not be less clutch. I think he's the least clutch quarterback to ever exist in NFL history. Anytime there's a big, huge game that he has to win for his team, like last year against the Lions, and then last year in the wild card round, falls apart. And then in the final drive, throws an interception. Of course he did.
Okay, but against who? Because your whole thing about Baker, he's so clutch.
Yeah.
Blah, blah, blah.
Baker wins.
They
at the end of
only
games.
won because of this interception, just so we're clear.
Yeah, but Baker didn't
So
throw
do-
an interception
so
on his
does
last
Does
drive.
that say anything about Baker being clutch? No, it's that Sam Darnold wasn't clutch.
Yeah.
So you just made my point.
No,
that-
because
No,
when
I
they
did.
both
You
had-
did.
both when
Rewind it, everybody.
when they had a
Rewind.
chance to win at the end of the game, Baker goes down and scores a touchdown. Sam Darnold throws an interception. Baker can go out there and play defense. That has nothing to do with it. The Seahawks losses.
I'm just saying.
The
You're
Seahawks
saying that
2
he's
losses.
clutch when he's really not. Like
Baker's
he's-
so clutch.
Ugh.
The Seahawks 2 losses this year. Sam Darnold has had a chance to go down and score with 1 minute to go. And in both of those games, he's thrown an interception. It's what he does. Now, he gets to play against Trevor Lawrence, which Trevor Lawrence is not a good quarterback either. But I am going to take the Jaguars at home, 1.5 point favorites. You're taking the Seahawks because you're obsessed with Sam Darnold.
Totally.
But Sam Darnold's going to mess up in this game multiple times, and the Jaguars are going to win.
multiple times.
Yeah, he's going to throw at least 2 interceptions in this game.
You're so dramatic.
He is going to throw at least 2
I wouldn't be
interceptions.
surprised if he had 0
Hmm.
interceptions.
Last
And
year
they win
against
this game
last year against the Jaguars, guess how many interceptions Sam Darnold had?
2,
3.
3.
He had his worst passer rating in his career against the Jaguars last year.
Okay.
Okay.
And
Now the Jaguars defense is actually looking much better this year than last year. And he threw 3 against a team. I think they had like 9 interceptions all year long. And 3 of them
okay,
were
who's
Sam
better,
Darnold.
Trevor Lawrence or Sam Darnold?
For the money, Sam Darnold. But if they're the both same money, I'd slightly go Trevor Lawrence.
You're such a hater. These are like elite athletes, and you're like, they're terrible. They
Compared
suck.
to other quarterbacks.
Okay, I'm just saying.
Obviously, they're top 32.
Anyway,
Yeah.
I think the Jags. I think their record seems like they're better than they are. I
Mhm.
said that last week.
Mhm.
And although go back if you didn't see the game and Google like Travis Hunter beginning of the second half catch. He had, and I will say, Trevor Lawrence threw the ball well and like got out of a little like shenanigans happening. But threw the ball to Hunter and he catches it like in the air with his legs. It was very cool to watch.
It's almost like they have good pass catchers that they should actually utilize.
Well, right. And I think that's the question is Travis Hunter underutilized on offense or overutilized on defense being his rookie year? Like, does he need to focus on one thing?
Mhm.
Right.
I think they need to focus on Trevor Lawrence getting better and figuring out how to get the ball to 2 really, really good wide receivers and Brian Thomas Jr. and Travis Hunter.
Right. Well, and I think that's the reason why the Seahawks win this game.
Okay.
Because I think, and honestly, I would take the spread.
Okay.
1.5. I mean, I think that's easy either way, right? Like whoever you're going to choose, I think 1.5 is a good, that's an easy choice. So,
Yeah, I would take Jaguars money line.
yeah, exactly. So, yeah, I think the Seahawks, they need a win and I think they'll go out and get it on the road.
All right. I will say, as much as I hate Sam Darnold, it was clearly the right move to move on from Geno Smith.
Oh my god.
It's clearly an upgrade to Sam Darnold. Like Sam Darnold for most parts of games, it's like, okay, he can do it, right? It's just he always makes that stupid boneheaded mistake. But
For most parts.
either way, Geno Smith or Sam Darnold's never winning a Super Bowl, so it's fine. Buffalo Bills against the Atlanta Falcons. This is a really odd game to me. Like, I feel like this is like a really weird one. This is a weird matchup for the Bills. The Bills are 4.5 point favorites on the road. We're both picking the Bills.
Mhm.
And like, I get they lost against the Patriots last week. It's so not rare, so usual, right? For divisional opponents to come in, even if it's at your home, and play better than you're expected. Like, divisional games are always rough and like it doesn't matter how the team is. So I'm not worried about them losing a close game to the Patriots last week. What I am worried about is Michael Penix Jr. And I know he had a good game before the bye, but overall, he's not doing it. He has 7 starts now in the NFL, 6 passing touchdowns in those 7 starts. Yeah. It's not great.
I mean, he does have Bijan Robinson, so I mean,
yeah, Bijan and Tyler Algier. That's what's going to happen in this game for the Falcons to win. Is that Bijan Robinson plus Tyler Algier is just going to have to take over the running game.
mm-hmm.
And they're going to have to run for like 250 yards combined, get a couple touchdowns. And the Falcons defense, which has been very good, that you pointed out, tell them your stats there.
Yeah, I remember. I say a lot of things, everyone. Atlanta has the number 1 pass defense.
They do. I was actually shocked by that as well. They
are sneaky good on my notes.
Nice.
So
they are the number 1 pass defense and the number 1 total defense. Number 1 at allowing the fewest first downs per game. So it's like, all right, Falcons defense is doing his thing. It's that Josh Allen does not worry about defenses. Like, good defenses don't stop him.
Sure. Yeah.
And this is going to be in a dome. It's a controlled environment. There can be no weather impacted. Josh Allen just lost last game. He's not losing again.
They can't do what they did last week, which is turn the ball over. Yes. They had 3 turnovers, 1 interception, 2 fumbles. They cannot do that again.
And they probably won't. They only had 1 turnover through the first 4 weeks.
Right.
Combined.
But I'm just saying they shouldn't and
Yeah.
they can't. But I think too, they started so slow. Like so slow. I don't think they got a touchdown until the 3rd quarter. The first score too maybe was field goals. So I think you got to come out and score early, just to kickstart your offense, gain some momentum. But I think the struggle for the Bills for this game will definitely be their rush defense against Bijan and Tyler Algier.
Yeah, and that's the one way Atlanta could win. But we're both picking the Bills to win and to cover, right?
Yeah.
4.5 points.
Yeah.
This will be the last one that we get into full detail about, and then we'll get quicker with the other games to just kind of give a quick opinion and who we think will win. But Browns versus Steelers, you might think it's silly that we're even talking about this, but I do think it's interesting because last week, Dylan Gabriel and Quinshon Judkins and even like Isaiah Bond and Harold Fannin Jr. and David Njoku, like this offense was clicking at points altogether, and they're very young, and they probably should have beat the Minnesota Vikings. So if this game was in Cleveland, I actually would be it would be a struggle to pick the winner. Since it's in Pittsburgh, I'm going to go with Pittsburgh. 5.5 points, though. I don't know if the Steelers will win by 5.5 points.
I had a hard time picking this one. I'm going to be honest with you. Like you said, had it been in Cleveland, I honestly think I would have went Browns. I went Steelers. You're welcome, Pat. I thought Dylan Gabriel looked good last week.
Really solid.
Better than I thought he would.
Yeah.
I thought the game with Minnesota was pretty even, so to speak. Mm-hmm. The Steelers are coming off a bye. I honestly think, old man Rodgers is I'm glad he got some rest, after 4 weeks of playing football. You didn't laugh at me calling him old man Rodgers. I'm a little sad about that. But, I think it'll be good for them. But I hope they come out rusty, honestly.
They don't do that with Mike Tomlin after buys, though. That's a big thing with this too. Like they come off the bye. Cleveland's coming from Europe.
That's
true. Gonna be rough.
That's true. Yeah, I mean, I don't think I wouldn't take the spread here, but I do think the Steelers are the better team overall. And just because the Browns got a little excited about having somebody other than Joe Flacco throwing the ball, I don't think it's enough to come in to Pittsburgh and beat the Steelers.
Yeah, and I think it's a lot to overcome with all these young guys that aren't used to this type of travel to fly in from Europe. Well, the other team got a bye.
True.
And that's going to be probably really hard to overcome. And also rookie quarterbacks making their first or second career start against Mike Tomlin have not done well in the slightest. They have a 68 passer rating combined, 3 touchdowns to 9 interceptions combined. So yeah, I don't think that Dylan Gabriel is going to put up a good game. However, Quinshon Judkins is the real deal at running back.
100%.
He's the real deal. And if he can go off and the Steelers cannot contain him, this could be a closer game that we want. But the Steelers defense has picked it up the last couple weeks before their bye after looking terrible the first 2 weeks. So I think the Steelers handle it this week.
That's right.
And now that I think about the travel, I might take the 5.5 points.
I mean, I've flown back and forth from Europe a few times, and it's not that big of a deal.
Have you had to play a football game afterwards and practice right away? Because you had to go to work today at 7:00 and you were dying and came in podcast, so I don't want to hear about it. You had to travel 45 minutes
Listen,
away.
if they were paying me a few $1 million to be there, I'd probably put some pep in my step.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I think you're getting paid plenty and you're still tired as hell. So get out of here. I don't want to hear about it. All right. Other games of the week that we will give our winnings to. Eagles, Giants. We're both picking the Eagles. They are 7.5 point favorites. And I actually think I take that spread. The Giants just don't have enough talent on offense.
Right.
It's without Malik Neighbors there. Darius Slayton is now hurt. Like poor Jackson Dart. Like I do think there's something there with him, but they lost to the Saints last week. The Eagles ended up losing when they should have never lost, and apparently they're doing this, Hayakumba. What's the word I'm looking for?
Hakuna Matata?
Hakuna Matata. No, that's not what I'm looking for. That's not what I'm
What
looking
are you
for.
trying to say?
I don't know. But they're doing this whole meeting with the offense with Hurts and AJ Brown and Saquon Barkley trying to like get themselves all together.
Kumbaya.
Kumbaya. Thank you. Kumbaya. They're doing this whole kumbaya. And I think they're going to come out and be just fine. And I think they're going to stop on the Giants. That's just my opinion.
Here's the thing. On paper, the Eagles look like garbage.
Mhm.
Their ratings are so bad. Rankings are so bad. And then you look and you're like, huh, they're 4-1. And then you look at who they've played and you're like, huh, they've played like decent teams. It's not like they're playing the Saints every week, right? And so they're finding ways to win games. But it's a big, big problem that Saquon Barkley is receiving more yards than he's rushing. That is a big, big problem that they have to figure out sooner rather than later.
You had 6 carries last week. You were up 17-3 at one point in the second half. How do you have 6 carries?
Exactly. Like, what are they doing? They have to figure out how to run the ball. They have to figure out how to get the ball to AJ Brown. Now, Devontae Smith, great game last week. Very happy for him. But you have to have multiple threats when you're throwing the ball, and having one main guy is just not going to cut it.
Can I tell you, like last week was not the time to get AJ Brown involved. He was against one of the best corners in the league, if not the best. I think that's what made them lose because they're so worried about AJ Brown and his little feelings. Like you guys were 4-0, you're up 17-3. You won the Super Bowl last year. If he's crying about targets, let him cry. I don't know. That's just my feeling.
But he hasn't given him the ball all season. So to say like, sure, one game he was crying, great. But like
not all games,
this is 5, but that's my point, is you can't get him the ball at all.
I know. He's trying. Anyways, moving on. Eagles are going to win that game.
Okay.
Eagles going to win. Moving on. Cardinals against the Colts. And the Cardinals are coming off the most embarrassing game in maybe NFL history. A most embarrassing loss. But the Colts are 6.5 point favorites at home. We're both taking the Colts. And the thing is, you might say, okay, after that type of loss, you're going to come out and be angry. No. I think it's going to be the exact opposite. After that kind of demoralizing loss, you lose faith in everybody. You lose faith in all of your teammates. You lose faith in your coaches. We saw it last year when we already talked about this. When the Bears lost to the Commanders, when they should have totally won on that Hail Mary play, because they're a big part of it because their corner was talking trash to the crowd for no reason. After that, they were 4-2. The Bears were at that point. After that, they won one more game the rest of the season. One more. Like it was just a demoralizing loss. And I think that's a kind of embarrassing loss the Cardinals experienced last week, where everything that could go wrong, you did wrong. And it was just like the most embarrassing way to lose. I think they fall apart now. And I think Jonathan Gannon gets fired by the end of the season. And Indy has been on fire on offense. Absolutely amazing. I don't know how it keeps happening, but Jonathan Taylor's going off. Daniel Jones is doing his thing. I'm sorry I didn't leave you with much here, but Indianapolis Colts winning for both of us.
I agree.
Okay, you agree. Nice. See, that's all you needed. I really wanted to talk about that one.
See that?
Yeah. I will let you have this one. Rams against the Ravens. Rams are 7.5 point favorites. You believed in your Texans last week against the Ravens. I was saying the Ravens could still win without Lamar. They could not.
Right.
So we're both taking the Rams. However, this is my question to you going into this. Last week, we were sitting here saying, the Rams are facing the 49ers. They have so many injuries. The Rams have to win. And that was at home for the Rams. Now the Rams are facing the Ravens. The Ravens have so many injuries. The Rams have to win. But what's the difference?
The difference are the Ravens are trash defensively.
They are.
I mean, such trash. And while the 49ers are definitely not as scary without Nick Bosa, their defense is not trash.
Yeah.
The Ravens defense is trash. The only reason their record is what it is right now is because their offense was so good the first few weeks.
Mm-hmm.
And even that has just like blown up.
Well, they only have one win.
Right. But their offense has been going off and teams haven't been able to keep up with that.
Yeah.
Well, one team. So, I mean, like for me, the Rams are probably pretty upset from that game last week. They're going to come out and feel like they need to win this game. I think the Ravens are probably not playing Lamar again. And so for me, yes, it's in Baltimore, but the spread is pretty high, I think. I don't know that the Rams will win by 7.5. Honestly, I hope they stomp on Baltimore, but I don't think they will. Derrick Henry looks like somebody bad. I don't even know who to compare him to because it's been like, who even is that?
He has 50 or fewer rushing yards in 4 straight games. Longest drought of his career. And he did end up getting the rushing touchdown in late in the game last week, but it hasn't been the Derrick Henry we're used to.
No.
He had more rushing yards in week 1 than he's had from weeks 2 through 5 combined.
Yeah, I think this is Rams, no doubt.
Yeah, it should be the Rams for sure. They just don't fall apart like you did last week. I'm so happy you did against the 49ers, but just don't fall apart. This defense is so bad. You should be able to handle it even on the road. Mm-hmm. We actually have a difference of opinions on who will be the winner in this game, and I'm being stupid. But it's the Broncos against the Jets. The Broncos are 7-point favorites. The game is in London. I'm taking the Jets. I don't like it.
Well, that's what you decided, and I told you couldn't change it. So, yeah, I mean, the Broncos are playing very well. I mean, honestly, the defense is gonna destroy Justin Fields. I'm predicting at least 4 sacks. And I think the Jets will be another team in the NFL to start 0-6.
Yeah, that's my thing. It's like the Jets got to win a game.
Do they though?
Sooner or later, they have to win a game.
I mean, okay. I'm going to tell the people.
Okay.
We looked it up because I was curious. And I was like, how many teams like go 0-6? Like that seems kind of crazy, you know? And she's like, oh, it doesn't happen very often.
Well, I said it happens often enough, but it's rare. It's rare in the grand scheme of things.
I wish I had a video camera so you people could see. In the last 25 years, 20 years out of the 25, a team, at least one, some seasons it was bad, like multiple, have gone 0-6. So it's almost every year somebody goes 0-6.
Yes.
I don't know what that math is, ratio wise, but 1 in 5. That doesn't, I guess. No, 4 in 5. 20 to 25. 4 out of 5.
4 out of 5 years. Good job.
Go math.
That's 80%.
There you go.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. Anyways, teacher, all I'm saying is that I do think the Jets sooner or later have to win a game. And I know that's not the truth. But my also big thing is the Jets are the first team since at least 1950 with 0 takeaways through 5 games. And sooner or later, takeaways going to bounce in their lap. Right. And takeaways are going to be insanely important in these games. I don't have real reason. I know I'm the analyst and I should have real facts and reasonings why I think the Jets will win. I just think the Jets offense can score enough points. And as long as Breece Hall has a big game, Mason Taylor, the rookie tight end, has to have a big game. And the defense just needs to step it up a little bit, like Sauce Gardner shut down Cortland Sutton. And I think they can win this game. The Jets, 22.4 points per game that they've averaged this year, are the second most by a winless team through 5 games in NFL history.
Wow.
Yeah.
They're still going to lose. And it's not even technically a home game for them because it's overseas.
Yeah. Well,
so,
but that's also my point. Anything can happen overseas. The craziest stuff happens because everyone's tired. Everyone's,
Yeah, jet lag. You know?
So that's why I'm saying the Jets are going to surprise and win this game. We're moving on to Cowboys and Panthers. I'm taking another risky pick here with the Panthers. You're taking the Cowboys. The Cowboys are 3.5-point favorites. You can go first. Why are you into the, it's pretty, the Cowboys offense has been fire hot.
Yeah, and I think they continue that this week. I think the Panthers winning against Dolphins, while showed a lot of heart, I don't think it showed, anything other than that last week. So yeah, I think the Cowboys winning here is easy choice for me.
So I'm going to go with the Panthers because their pass defense has been pretty good randomly, allowing just 204 passing yards per game, allowing just 1.4 passing touchdowns per game. Tedero McMillan should be able to have a really good game against the Cowboys defense that have allowed the most yards per game in the league this year, third most points per game. And Rico Dowdle, if he gets to go again like he did last week,
True.
over 200 scrimmage yards, this is a revenge game for Rico Dowdle. The Cowboys did not re-sign him. He had to go sign as a backup with the Panthers. Revenge game. So I am going to go with the Panthers. Another game that could be interesting with two really, really bad teams, but interesting enough. Titans versus the Raiders. And at first, I really wanted to go Titans, but I just could not find a single reason to go with the Titans. So we're both going with the Raiders. Now, 5.5 points, though. I don't know if I'm brave enough to take that spread.
I wouldn't.
But I do think Ashton Genty goes off in this game. The Titans have a very, very bad run defense. Allowed the second most rushing yards in the league this year, most rushing touchdowns. So I think Ashton Genty, if he can go off, the Raiders will win.
I think if Geno Smith can throw one interception
instead of
17, this is the clash of the irrelevant teams for me. Like, who cares? Sorry if you're a Raiders or a Titans fan, but it's like two teams going 1-4. The Titans are like the team that's like they're young and they're inexperienced, and then the Raiders are like a bunch of good guys that play really bad together.
Yeah.
So
the thing with the Titans is that I do think Cam Ward could be better with better talent around him, but at the same time, he's last in completion percentage, last in passing yards per game, second last in passing yards per attempt, last in sacks taken, tied for last in passing touchdowns. It's like, and they needed the Cardinals to have a colossal meltdown to win their one game of the season.
Right.
Now, the Raiders stink, but again, I think as long as they give it to Ashton Genty, take the ball out of Geno Smith's hands where he doesn't throw a bunch of interceptions, they're going to win this game.
Yeah, agreed.
Bengals versus the Packers. We got a new quarterback now. Joe Flacco. Does he beat the Packers for the second time this year? That would be wild. Imagine the Packers have 2 losses this year and it's both to Joe Flacco. No, it's not going to happen. This one's in Green Bay. The time, when they lost was in Cleveland. And by the way, it had nothing to do with Flacco. Flacco had 142 passing yards, 0 touchdowns, 1 interception in that game. Yeah. They won 13-10. So I think the Packers handled this easily. And the Bengals defense is so much worse than the Bengals defense. Wait, no, the Bengals defense is so much worse than the Browns defense.
Totally.
Yeah, totally.
I think this is an easy choice. I mean, the Packers are at home. Joe Flacco's just getting to Cincinnati. I don't think he's going to change the, offensive scheme overnight and be this amazing quarterback for them.
And the thing is that, sorry to cut you off, it's not even about just the quarterback. I mean, Jake Browning was terrible. But the thing is, we all knew coming into the season, Joe Burrow had to play at an MVP level for this team to get to the playoffs and to win games.
Right.
MVP level, Joe Burrow had to play because their defense is going to be so bad. And their defense has been that bad. So you can't just have a slightly good quarterback. You had to have an MVP level quarterback. And Joe Flacco's not that.
Well, he's not, but I agree with you and I don't. The quarterback matters, obviously. But to say it just has to be an elite quarterback and you can have a chance, well, that's not true because they have to do something with the ball, right? He gets to throw it to Jamar Chase. He gets to throw it to T. Higgins, right?
And he gets to throw a bunch of interceptions just like Jake Browning does. And the Packers are going to destroy them. The Packers are 14.5-point favorites, and I'm taking the 14.5 points.
I wouldn't.
Okay. Patriots. That's all I have to
Jeez,
say.
tell me how you really feel.
Last game of the week, Patriots versus the Saints. The Saints got their first win last week against the Giants. I don't care. Taking the Patriots. Patriots are 3.5-point favorites on the road. And Drake May, it's been so good. I mean, I'm really excited for this kid. He ranks second in completion percentage this year at nearly 74%. Fifth in passing yards per attempt, sixth in passer rating. He's been great on third and fourth down. Is actually leading the league in completion percentage and passer rating on third and fourth down. Massive, really high pressure situations. I think there's a second amazing quarterback potentially in the AFC East to go along with Josh Allen. Obviously not at Josh Allen's level, although he did just bring him down last week.
True.
But I mean, I think the Patriots found something here, and he still doesn't have great weapons. Imagine once they get him actual wide receiver one. But the Saints, won last week, but they're not winning twice in a row.
Yeah, no, I think, as you like to point out, that was Spencer Rattler's first NFL win.
He only needed 11 attempts to get it. I mean, that's not asking for much, Nycole.
Yeah, I mean, and the Patriots only being 3.5-point favorites is a little wild.
Smash. 10-point favorites.
Yeah, easy.
Yeah.
Easy.
That is it for our game previews, but we still have our 2-minute warning where we're going to call out the fantasy football failure of the week.
2-minute warning.
So hopefully you all play fantasy football. I mean, who doesn't? Get in a fantasy football league if you're not. But if you do, we are going to call out a guy that we think is going to have a miserable fantasy football week, and you should not be starting in your lineups. Would you like to go first, Nycole?
Sure. I am going with, and this is I'm picking two guys because we don't know who's going to start, even though we think we do. I'm going with the Steelers running back. So Jalen Warren or Kenneth Gainwell if Jalen Warren is not back. I think the Browns rush defense will destroy them, them being the two of them. I would not go for one of those guys.
Okay. I am going to go with Alvin Kamara against the Patriots. Now, Alvin Kamara may have been, he's hitting father age, maybe. It's just not working out for him anymore. He's not, the last couple of years, he's been thriving on targets and receptions, although, his rushing yardage and touchdowns were not there. That's just not happening this year. In the last 3 weeks, well, all season long, he's only averaged 9.7 points per game in half PPR. Last 3 weeks, though, 6 points, 9.7 points. Just killing you in your lineups. And the only running back against the Patriots that has scored even 11 points against them in a game this year was Devin Achane. And it's because Achane had 8 receptions for 92 yards against them. And again, Kamara's just not being utilized in the passing game. So stay away from Alvin Kamara. I like guys like Michael Carter, Enrico Dottle, and Ja'Cory Krosky-Merritt, and so many players over Alvin Kamara. So just stay away from Kamara in this matchup. All right, that is it for today's show. I want to thank you all for listening to our 8th episode and getting through our week 6 games. I hope we have a better record for you this week. We'll be back next week, hopefully gloating about how good we did. We'll talk to you then. Bye, y'all.
Bye.
Thanks for listening to The Analyst in the Armchair. Don't forget to subscribe, follow us on socials, leave us a review, and comment to let us know what you'd like to hear next time.